Hi guys, I'm going to do something different today. I know a lot of you guys want to come along and watch electronics repair videos, and I'll be back on to repairs tomorrow. But today I am putting together a computer, a gaming computer, using the best of the bits that we've salvaged over the last few videos and the last month or two, and some new parts as well. And I'm building this to a budget. This is for a young viewer named Aaron. And this is his first gaming PC. So I hope you enjoyed this video if you want to stick with it and watch it, and hope you'll also agree for the budget this was made. This is a good machine, you know, it'll play recent games at playable frame rates, and given the current market for GPUs and such like, I think you'll agree this is a very good specification for the budget it was built to. Okay, so if you watch it, enjoy it, and at the end maybe you'd like to come. I'm sure Aaron will watch. I know he's going to watch this. He'll probably comment, and maybe you'd like to congratulate him on his first ever gaming PC. Okay guys, let's get on with it. Hi guys, let's do something different today. We're going to build a budget gaming machines using some of the best bits that we've repaired over the last few months on here on the channel. It's going to be quite a decent machine, so this will be capable of playing a lot of recent games at 1080p at playable frame rates. I mean, we're not talking a high-end machine. You all know, I'm sure, that graphics cards in particular are just at stupidly expensive prices at the moment, but this will be quite nice. So we have a Gigabyte motherboard with this is a Core i5 4690 processor on there. That's going to be the basis of our machine, and we have a R9-290X 4GB graphics card with a nice third-party cooler fan on there. We've got a Cooler Master cooler there. We've got 16 gig of HyperX Blue. This is DDR3 1600, I believe. Just check it. So those are used parts. Got some clear fans here. These are not LED fans, but we're going to put a bit of our own LED lighting in, make it look nice, so we'll do that. We have a Mars gaming case here. That's all going to go in there. It has 500 watt power supply in there. Then with some new parts, we have a 480 gig SSD Kingston, and we have a 2 terabyte Seagate hard drive. So that'll form the basis of the machine. To finish it off, we have another as a Pro Mark III. This is a gaming keyboard, mouse, and mouse mat, all in red and black, which match the red finish on the front of this case nicely. The case has already built into it a DVD multi-writer and a card reader in there as well. You can see the red flashes on here which match the keyboard and mouse. And then the final part of this is going to be the monitor. So this is 27-inch LG 1 millisecond with Freesync, which will match nicely with that Radeon card. 27-inch. So total budget this machine I'm building for somebody is around 650 euros for the whole thing, with the keyboard, mouse, monitor. The monitor, keyboard, mouse, hard drives are new, and the other parts are basically things that we fixed or we've gained and repaired over the last couple of months. Okay, so let's get ready to put all this together. Okay, so I had to make a slight modification to the heatsink on the back of this because it's so large. If you can just see here, basically I had to just take a little bit off these 3 veins here to clear the RAM because it's so close to the end of the RAM here. The other problem I found was, even after that, the bolt here, which holds the heatsink on the GPU, was actually interfering with the first DIMM slot. I say the first, this is actually slot 4, yeah, so the 1, 2, the grey ones, 3, 4, the black. So I'm actually going to put a couple strips of 8 in here rather than 4 strips of 4 actually. So we're going to still have 16 gig of RAM, but they're going to be 2 8s rather than 4 4s, and then it will actually fit in place, yeah. So I've sorted out. I've actually tested it to see if it will clear the RAM, and with the RAM and the 2 grey slots, yes, it will. I had to just line it up so that these slots here are kind of slotting between the DIMMs, yeah. Anyway, so that's just a little, you know, sort of thing that might happen. So now we're going to put the cooler master fan on. This came with 4 bolts and such like. It was actually on this board, on this processor originally, yeah. So we're going to put this back into place here. I'll use some very good heatsink compound with this. I'll just get it one moment. So this is MX4 thermal compound, which is considered to be one of the better, or one of the best, yeah. This thermal compound is also on the GPU, so I put new compound on that as well, using the same one. We don't need much of this. We just need a little spot in the middle, like so, yeah. That's all we need. And then when we fit the heatsink on, it will kind of spread itself out and hold it nicely in place. So the heatsink's going to go on this way, and we can just stick that into place, yeah. We can sit that on there, and then we can bolt it on with the 4 bolts. Okay, so I improvised slightly again. I have some strong springs taken from a different type of cooler, and I've put them under here with a washer and a bolt, so that the cooler is now sitting properly on there. It's rigid, but it'll allow for any expansion as it warms up, and it will stay completely flat against the CPU, yeah. So that's far better than just bolting it on how it was originally fitted on this board. Okay, so we have the processor on there. We're now going to stick some RAM in this and just get it on the bench, and then with just the motherboard and the RAM and the onboard video at the moment, yeah, we're going to install Windows 10 on the machine, on the SSD, and after that we're going to fit the GPU, get this in and load the rest of the drivers. So let's actually just set up Windows on our motherboard now as it is. Okay, so the board's powered up, and we can see it's now asking for a bootable drive, yeah. I've got a couple of 8 gigs in it at the moment, but they're not a matched pair. I'll test these and give it a stability test, but I will get another matching one of the Crucial, so there's a matching pair. But for now, we can use these to actually get the machine working, yeah. So what we need to do now is to take the SSD and install Windows 10. We've got Windows installed then in all the drivers, and that's running absolutely fine. So you can see that all the drivers here are all installed, yeah, everything's there. So that's running on the onboard video. So what we want to do now is to fit the GPU, yeah. So the graphics card is going to go in there, this one, and then I'll load the drivers again for this, yeah. And then really we have the machine built ready on the bench, and we can look at putting all this together into the case. Okay, so here's our PC with the enormous GPU with this cooler on, yeah, which is responsible for pretty much all the gaming performance of this machine, yeah. So there we have it, sitting in there. As I say, quite a tight fit. If you look back here, yeah, just fits in there, but it fits, yeah. So all we need to do next is to install the drivers for this GPU. Okay, so that went fine. So the machine's got all the drivers installed now, and I'll just I can just show. Actually, this boots up to Windows very quickly. I mean, it does have the SSD, and that makes a big difference. So if we just power this on now, yeah, we're just powering it up, and we'll get a bleep, and it's bleeped. and now we can just see how this loads up into Windows. Yeah, so here we go. Yeah, like that. Yeah, so that's from a standing start. Yeah. Naught to Windows 10 as fast as you like. Okay, so what we need to do now is build this into the actual case and add the second hard drive, the 2 terabytes, and then again, once again, when it's all built together, test it again. Let's add some LEDs, eh? Let's snazz this up a little bit. So the space for 2 fans in here, one in the back of the case. You can't just see it now, but one in the side panel. Yeah. So I've got some red LEDs because we've got a red and black theme going on with this. Yeah. So let's attach some of these LEDs to the fan. So I'm just going to use a bit of hot melt glue. It's the best stuff for this, really. A bit of hot snot glue. Yeah. And we can just attach our LEDs, one in each corner of the fan. Give it a few seconds and that will set solid. Yeah. Just move it a little bit so it doesn't hit the fan. Yeah. Just let the glue a moment just to set solid. There we go. So I'm just going to go around here now and just literally put an LED in each corner, yeah, and then we can wire them up together. So another one can go here. Oops. Hot melt glue getting everywhere. This stuff is definitely the best thing you can use for this sort of job. Again, just hold it in place for a little while it sets, yeah, and be sure that the LED is not hitting the fan. Okay, so I'll glue the rest of these on here and then I'll wire them together. Okay, so we've got our fan with the LEDs fitted. This is the size you'll see from outside of the case. Yeah, I can just fasten these wires back to here with a little bit of hot melt glue to keep them nice and tidy. So this is the size you'll actually see when you're looking through the back of the case. Yeah, and we can just connect the 12 volts power. Okay, slight adjustment because one of the LEDs is catching. Okay, a little more adjustment required. So I'll just figure out which one is actually catching on the fan. Okay. Let's try it again. There we go. So, yeah, nicely illuminated. So we'll just do the same with the other one. You see I've placed them so really the light kind of runs along these struts, if you like. When it's darker you'll see that much better. Okay, let's just get the other one done as well. So this is the second one just about done. So the LEDs are all connected in a string like I said at Christmas lights. Yeah, positive comes here, then through each one, and then the negative comes back out here. Yeah, because these are LEDs we can't just connect them to the 12 volt supply. We have to put a resistor in the circuit as well to limit the current, because LEDs basically like to commit suicide. They commit harry-carry, yeah, if you don't limit the current. So we get our resistor, we just it doesn't matter where in the, I mean it could go anywhere in the circuit, but I'll stick it at this end by this LED. Yeah, just a solder set. There we go. So this is where we connect our power in, positive to this and negative to this bit of wire, which we just cut a bit shorter. There we go. So we'll just connect 12 volts in here. There we go. Strip the wire. If it's going to strip, I'm sure it will. There, it's done now. Okay, so this is our 12 volt supply. So negative to hit the black wire, and then positive to the other end, and just the wires tangled up with the hot glue at the moment. Just untangle the wire. One moment. Oh, and a knot. This happens to me. Okay, so we can switch the power supply on, and we have 12 volts, and now we can, yeah, the LEDs are lit. Yeah, so all we have to do now is connect the 12 volts to the red wire that's going to the fan, and then this wire, the other one, goes to the black. So let's just solder those on. Yeah, so we've got the red wire here, and we want to solder it to this end of this resistor. Okay, so we'll just cut the wire here, and then both ends of the wire we need to strip the insulation. There we go. This one's easy if we hold it with a pair of pliers actually, so we can get to it. Okay, strip the insulation, and now we fasten both these red wires to this end of the resistor. Just twist it round. Okay, twist it over there, same with the other end. Okay, and a little bit of solder, just hold that on there, that'll solder it in place now. Okay, so there's both our wires fastened to the resistor, and we can just chop off the stray bit, and we can bend this down under here, yeah. And then the black wire we have to connect to the brown, this one. So if we run this back down here, it doesn't matter where, you just connect it, so let's just do it here, yeah. So cut the black wire, yeah, get both ends, connect our wire in here, and then we attach this to the black. We want a bit of insulation on this, so I'm going to get some heat shrink sleeving. Okay, so this is just a bit of heat shrink, so we just stick it over this black wire, move it out of the way, and we just connect the wires together, just twist them, and then we just solder it. In fact, I'll just solder first and then stick the other one to it. So let's just solder this. Well, they've all fell apart, typical, yeah. Bit of solder, twist the wires back together again. Okay, solder that, and then we'll get our other wire and we'll just solder it back to this one. Okay, that should do it. Yeah, nice and solid, and then our bit of sleeving can go over this tip just to insulate it. Should just fit over it. Yeah, there we go. A bit more, there it is. And then just hot air, just warm it up, and that'll shrink. Simple. Okay, so that's our second fan. So now I can just stick the, these are resistors, but I'm just using the stiff bits of wire. One in there, that's the negative, connect the black. So that. And I've got another one around here somewhere, which will be the positive. If not, I can probably just use the leg off one of these LEDs I've just cut off here. Just the end of one of the legs, that'll do. Stick it down the red wire. And there we go. Again, nicely lit up, yeah. Right, so that's everything together now. So all we need to do now is basically put everything together in the case. Okay, so it's time to build the computer now. So the first thing we're going to do is put the I/O shield or backing plate into this case. Fits in there, yeah. And then we put our motherboard in. So that just sits. Just push the bottom corner of this I/O shield into place properly. They can be a little bit tricky sometimes just to get them sitting right. Yeah, okay, the I/O shield's in place now. So yeah, so motherboard just goes in here, and it sits up against that, lines up against it. Just a matter of just getting everything in line. Yeah, that's it. And then 6 screws, and they will hold the motherboard into place. I find it easiest to put all the drives in first. I've put the SSD in, I've put the 2 terabyte drive in, and now I can connect everything up. First of all, without the GPU, again, test it to make sure it's all working, and then we'll flip the GPU afterwards. So let's just now connect all the wires. Okay, so we've got the power leads to the motherboard. Let's try a bit more light in there, you're about to see. Maybe you can't. Okay, so we have the 24-way and the 8-way power leads for the CPU and motherboard. We have the USB 3 for the USB 3 ports on the front, These are the other two USBs, one's for the standard USB ports on the front of the case, and the one's for the card reader. This is the audio connector for the front panel audio, microphone and speakers, headphone connector here. And then these are the connectors for the start switch, the reset switch, the power LED and hard drive LED. There's no connector in this case for a speaker, but I put a little bleeper on here. That's useful just for a diagnostic tool when you first switch the machine on. It'll give you different codes if there's various problems like the memory isn't working or the GPU isn't working or not sitting right. Yeah. Okay, so we've got those in. So now let's connect the power for the hard drives and the SATA cables. Yeah. Okay, so I put the SATA cables on, sticking with our colour theme. I've got one red and one black. So the red one is the C drive, the boot drive, yeah, and the black one is for the 2 terabytes. I've used a right angle end one here. It's a lot lower profile because the graphics card sits in. It is a bit of a monster, yeah. You can't put 2 right angled ones because it won't go over the top of the other one basically. But the one that's nearest the graphics card is the right angled, and then the other one I've fed the wire coming the opposite way to try and keep it away from the GPU. Okay, so next thing to do now is going to be to fit the cooling fan, at least the internal one. The other one goes in the side of the case. Okay, so that's working, yeah. It's working nice now. The LEDs on the fan are all lit up quite nicely. There's also a red fan in the front down there as well. And then there'll be the one on the side when the side's on. So all we need to do now is refit the GPU. Yeah. Get the GPU back on the machine and test it again. And then if it's working, let's put everything together. Okay, so there we finally have it with this enormous GPU now in the machine. You can see, yeah. So basically that's what we get. So all that's required now is just to tidy up the wires behind the back panel, put the back panel on. Then let's connect up the monitor, keyboard and mouse and just get the whole thing running together. And you can have a look there to see, the finished result. Yeah, can we just get on the front of the machine? Yeah, there we are. Nicely lit up around the front, yeah. Okay, so let's just finish putting this back together and then we'll just give it a test. Okay, so here we have the computer with the monitor, nice, this red and black theme that goes through all the items, yeah. Just start it up so you see it lights up nicely, again in the side. It's booting up, it's a fast one. Only takes a few seconds from loading. Windows loading now, and there we are. Just logging in, we're on, yeah. So it's faster that into Windows. So this is for Aaron. This is your first gaming machine, mate. I know that, and I'm sure it won't be your last, but I'll guarantee that you'll always remember the first one. Yeah. Hope you enjoy it, lad. There you go.